guys, it's Nicole and I'm back with an 8.5 by 11 layout. This one came together super fast. I think I made it in about 25 minutes. So what I did was I used the August Hip Kit Club. I think it's the one with all the crepe paper Willow Lane collection in it. And I knew it was going to be just a very simple layout and I wanted to do some journaling. And when I saw the foam embellishments that came with the kit, they had these teacups in different colors. And it immediately made me think about the time that I brought Reagan when she was little to Disney World and she rode the teacups for the first time. So I went and hunted down that picture and I printed it at 3.5 by 5. And I went ahead and just used my oversized printer to print my journaling right at the top. So what you'll see is that I'm showing you the different colored teacups and that I found acrylic paint that coincided with the colors of the teacups. And my plan was just to do a brush stroke down the page of each color, and then I'm going to put the teacups on the top. So first I'm just going to take the teacups out of the sticker sheet so that I can line them up on this plastic packaging just to make sure that it's going to fit okay underneath the photo. So I'm doing that right now, and then to the right of my layout you'll see I have a paper plate there and I've already kind of put a little squirt of each acrylic paint on there. The navy color kind of gave me a difficult time. It's been in my drawer so long it was a bit clumpy, and so it took a while to dry and it didn't go down quite as smooth as the other colors. So I'm just kind of trying to get things lined up right here so that I could get a sense of where I want each, the width of each brush stroke to be so I could determine which size brush I want to use. So I'm doing that right now. As you see me line that up, I'll read you what the journaling says. It says, "It was your first visit to Disney World and I was pregnant with your sister. Going on rides was not much of an option for me. You really wanted to spin on the teacups and Aunt Brittany was game for taking you. This is your face while waiting to get on, but shortly after you just want it to keep," and then it says ... and at the bottom of the photo in thickers I end up writing the word spinning. So this is really just a story about how she wanted to do it, then when she got in line and saw how serious it spins, she was a little apprehensive to get on, but then after she got off she didn't want to stop going. So I wanted to just tell that story. That's what those little teacups reminded me of. So right now I'm just going through the various colors. I'm trying to do the lighter colors first so I don't, dirty the water, and then when I go for the yellow it's too dark to make the, or the navy's on the brush and then it makes the yellow kind of muddy. So I'm just doing the lighter colors first. I have a little cup of water there. I'm rinsing my brush just very loosely and then rubbing my brush on a paper towel next to my desk before going on to the next color. And so I end up going back after doing this whole process and making those brush stroke lines a little bit longer, just because I wanted to just put some simple embellishments on them and I felt like I made them too short. By the time I put the teacups on the top of them, there wasn't much of the paint exposed to kind of decorate. So I'm just doing that process. You can kind of see there that the navy was super clumpy and just kind of came out dry. So it gave me a hard time, but this is art. It didn't have to be perfect. It really, sometimes I'm just in the mood to make a quick layout. Like this was right before bedtime. I felt like being crafty, but I really didn't want to invest in making a 12 by 12 that was super embellished. So this was just a simple put together layout that didn't take that long. In fact, I think the painting took most of the time and then also waiting for the paint to dry. But so I make those 4 lines and then I use my heating tool here to heat up the paint a little bit, hoping that it would dry a little faster so I can move on to the next step. And I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but I took the piece of designer paper that I used for the background and I adhered it to a 120-pound piece of cardstock just because I knew I was going to do some painting on it and I didn't want it to get too flimsy. I wanted it to be a little bit sturdier so that when I put it on my album, it wouldn't bend around. Sorry guys, I'm starting to get sick. So now I'm just kind of messing with my paper because it started to get warped. And right on that navy on the bottom, it just was so gloppy that I kind of had to pat a paper towel on it to just get some of the major chunks off. And now here I'm just erasing all the lines that I had that were reference lines to kind of tell me where I needed to paint. And, you know, again, still messing with it just because it was a little bit warped. Laying my photo down and make sure that the paint goes horizontally from the left side of the photo to the right. And then here's where I'm like, I wish I would have gone farther down the paper. So I go back in with the yellow and I add another inch of paint. And I do the same for all of the colors. And so, I mean, as you can see, this is what takes me the most time on this layout, was really just getting the paint on there the way that I want it and dried. I also hadn't used my oversized printer in quite a while. As I've said previously, I hadn't scrapbooked in a while, and that's really the only use for my oversized printer. I use it for when I'm like putting 12 by 12 sheets in. And so I had to really take out all the inks and shake them up a bit, because even though the inks were full, they were sort of just not printing clearly when I was trying to print my journaling, because it just hadn't been used in a while. So again, going through this process, just making all of those lines a little bit longer. And even though this layout is super simple, just not very embellished, I really like the way that it turned out. I love the colors. I think it's super sweet. And now I feel like the tops of those paint brush strokes are dry, so I'm going to begin putting my teacups on there where I want them. Now I know I want to write the word spinning, because since I end up my journaling with the ... I wanted to add the word spinning, and I didn't know where I was going to add it on the layout, and I ended up putting it on the photo. When you see the final pictures of the layout, it doesn't look like you can read the word very well, but I assure you, like in person, you can see the word spinning just fine. And I decided to do it all in capital letters just because I wanted it to draw some attention, and I felt like since it was in the middle of a sentence anyways, if it was a capital S and lowercase remainder of the letters, it just wouldn't have the same impact. So I'm putting them on some wax paper just so I can kind of move it around the page, although, like I said, I do end up putting it directly on the photo. And this really isn't the greatest quality photo. You can kind of see the teacups in the background, and you can see some of the employees or workers in the background, but I really just wanted to capture the story of how intensely she wanted to go on this, and then when she got in line, she was having second thoughts, and I like her face in it because she's very nervous and contemplative. So now I'm cutting out the word, and I'm like, should I put it there below the picture? And then I thought, well, no, the teacups won't be even underneath as I had imagined. So I'm just contemplating it. I move it kind of centered, and I'm still not okay with it. And then finally I'm like, you know what? There's some dead space at the bottom of that picture. I'm not significantly covering any of the part of the photo that tells the story. And so I just went for it. And while I'm still waiting for that paint to dry, I'm picking up some of these puffy embellishments. They're kind of these puffy hearts by Amy Tan, and I wanted to fill up some of that dead space to the left of the photo as well. And then I thought to myself, this foam thicker Love You has all of the colors that I'm putting at the bottom of the page, so why not put that at the top as well? Because this, you know, obviously it's my daughter and I do love her, and so I thought it was very relevant. So I decide to put that at the top of the layout and put one of the nice gold sparkly hearts in the center. So I'm just getting those words laid out, and then I'm going to cut around the wax paper and kind of decide where I want everything placed on my layout. This just gave me time to allow for the paint to dry. So while this is going on, I know I've said this in several videos, but I'm trying to do a really good job of posting in my on my blog at least 3 or 4 times a week. And some posts are routine, like I do a scrap lift remix once a week or every other week, where I take someone else's layout and do my own version of it. I think that helps when you're having kind of like a crafty brain fart. And then I'm also doing some sort of organization thing, because I'm in the process of reorganizing my scrap room. I'm selling a lot of things on Facebook Marketplace. I'm trying to purge and be more thoughtful about what I want to use and what just because of like medical things going on with me. I'm just not capable of using. Like manual die cutting machines are very hard for me in my joints, so I'm like trying to get rid of some of those and get ones that are more button focused where they're automatic. And so definitely check out my blog. I'll try to put the link down below and follow, because I can't make a video for every single layout or project or organization thing I'm doing. It's just unrealistic with the amount of work that I do in my normal day job. But I want to be very devoted and thoughtful to posting process videos at least once or twice a week, and then having my blog as well as my Instagram, and those are all under Coming Unglued. So check it out there. I'm trying to do a better job. This is something that I always enjoyed doing, and being away from it for so long just was something I missed, and I missed the community. So as you can see, I use my tea ruler to try to lay those teacups very straight on the bottom, and I like the way that this layout's coming out. I mean, is it a super complex layout? No. Was it fun to make? Do I love the colors? Yeah, I think it was just a good way to just be artsy and do something very quick and still feel accomplished and get some of my photos in the kids' albums. So now I'm just committing to everything. I had everything on wax paper or plastic, and now I'm finally laying everything where I had decided that it was going to go on the layout. So I'm lining up that word spinning to kind of finish my journaling, and then I'm probably going to work on the embellishments to the left-hand side of the layout. And I end up going with 2 of the larger hearts that come in that package. The first one says love, and for a split moment I consider flipping out that one for like a mint colored one that's smaller, but then I decided the page needed more black with that black foam thicker spinning on it. And oh, okay, so I guess I started laying this out off camera. My apologies. And so now I'm moving on to, I realized that if I put those foam or the puffy hearts on, then my tea ruler wouldn't lay flat. So I moved on to laying out this love you first. And so I simply use my tea ruler and kind of get an idea of how I want it centered over the photo and the journaling. So this is a very linear layout. Like I said, not a lot of layering, very linear. Everything's kind of stacked on top of each other. A very clean layout, but I really just love the colors and the way that it came out. So I put it there, and I was going to use this little heart, and then I thought, no, there's a bigger one there that would fill up more space. So I put that right in the center. And then I believe I move on to adhering the 2 puffy hearts, and I use some glossy accents for it. I needed a pretty strong adhesive because I know that as these lay in my album, they're gonna loosen over time. I live in Florida, so it's very humid here, and things come apart really easily with the humidity. So after I adhere them, I lay a giant stamp block on them just to give it time to dry. At the last minute, I thought I was going to call this done, and then I realized that the August Hip Kit also came with like a sticker sheet from Maggie Holmes that just had some little stickers in different colors, and some of the colors matched perfectly to the paint brush strokes that I did. So I just picked 3 of each sticker. So like in the yellow one, there are these little mustard yellow flowers. In the green one, I don't know if these are leaves or little birds with their wings open. In the navy one, they're leaves, and then in the pink one, that's the hardest to see, there's hearts. And so I lay those right in the center of the brush strokes just to kind of add some focus there. And that's really it. That's where I call this layout done, and I'll have some photos at the end for you to take a look. Thanks for watching.